It's about design and execution. It's about the process. As artisans and artists, we get seduced by the process because it's so exciting to just take a shape and change it through direct process, through squeezing it down, making it fatter, punching it, slitting it, whatever. In the end, it's about the integrity of what you've made. It's how well it does its job. Does it please the eye? If it's something you hold, does it please the hand? And those are things I think that are that are pretty profound, actually. And to me, that's what really makes it one of the great mediums of artistic expression and craft. I knew that smithing could be a career. There are times when it's sublime and wonderful, but a lot of just boring, mundane stuff, unpleasantness, things you didn't consider or didn't realize that could throw you off, and you need to just persevere and be patient and not blow your top. And many times in the early parts of my career, I would underbid jobs and work ridiculous hours and pull all-nighters, and that's like really torture to do that kind of thing. That's so not worth it, and you certainly don't get paid for it, and your customer usually doesn't even appreciate it.
Trying to keep the art alive, trying to keep it alive. And there's a lot of young people who do want to do this, and women. There's more and more women.
So I've probably known Dan about 15 years or so, and we met probably right here at our CBA Oktoberfest event.
And he's a master smith.
I was born in Berkeley, California, so I'm a native Californian. My mom was born in Berkeley, California, Alta Bates Hospital. Let's see, I was raised in Kensington, Berkeley, North Oakland. I graduated from Oakland Tech High School in 1967, Summer of Love, yeah baby. And I was lucky to avoid the draft of the Vietnam War. I came back from there. I started a shop that I was sharing with another guy in East Oakland, 81st Avenue, and before crack wars happened. And it was still a pretty tough neighborhood, but it was survivable. It was a place I could afford at the time to set up a little shop and start doing commission work, and I made fire tools for the Christmas fair and things like that. Nothing major, but just getting started. You know, you just take an iron bar and it's no big deal. It's just what it is. But it has many sublime aspects underneath that physical reality, that mundane, that we take it for granted type reality. Well, there's so many different types of blacksmiths. There were always artist blacksmiths, believe it or not, as far as we know. And there were always tool makers. There were always weapons makers, armor makers. There were always, every village had at least a smith, if not more. The bigger the village, the more smiths in town, making all the hardware needed for the level, whatever level civilization was at that time. And smithing is still part of our culture. It's used industrially. You know, everything that's subjected to a lot of force needs to be forged so that the structure. I'm always searching for balance in my life between the work and the other things that feed me, you know, whether it's cycling or seeing art or just hanging out with friends. You know, there are a lot of guys who are just so focused that they just work all the time, but I find that personally draining and I lose my inspiration. I like to exercise, and it's best in the early morning. So I'll go for a jog or a bike ride early in the morning and come back and have another, if I leave really early, I won't have even had coffee or breakfast, but usually I'll come back and have breakfast and sit in front of my computer, answer emails, look at the work I have to do, and start making calls, start making sketches, whatever. If I have work in the shop, you know, that's got priority. Once I'm into a job, it's like a routine of getting hours in the shop. It was a process of elimination and realization of what I wanted to do, and just gradually over time I realized that metal was really interesting for me, and I was very attracted to it. But I started also realize more and more things about iron and steel in particular that make it unique and transformative. And one of the things that initially I came to realize and appreciate was that it doesn't have, in and of itself, it's not a seductive media. It's not like you hold up an iron bar and people go, ooh, wow, that's so beautiful. Well, you can go deaf, you can burn yourself for sure, and you can burn yourself severely, but hopefully you learn from the minor burns to avoid the bigger ones. Usually they happen when you're tired, when you're fighting a deadline, when you're a little bit not your best. That's when accidents happen. There are so many great paths in the world, and you just have to explore and trust your intuition. Trust that little voice in your head that say, wow, this is something that really sounds good. That's the advice I would give you. Trust your unconscious mind, that inspiration you get in the middle of the night or in the morning when you wake up, because your conscious mind can get in the way a lot. It can confuse things and make things difficult to understand, or often when you're trying to come up with a solution or an idea, your rational linear conscious mind will go at it the wrong way. Whereas at night when you're asleep and the unconscious mind is just cycling through all these things over and over, it'll find the back door. It'll find the new way. But learn to hear that voice that says this is something that moves you, that resonates. And you just have to find that for yourself, and it can be whether it's your video production, telling stories. There are so many different great career paths in the world, helping others or just making money. I mean, that's what moves some people. It never did quite move me, obviously. But that's my advice: is to keep seeking, keep trying new things, and listen to that little voice in your head and your intuitions, because often your unconscious mind is wiser than your conscious mind.